Is that a humbo or is that a
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, what's up, fuckers?
thumper?
God,
All
God
right.
shows up fucking late to class, sits in the back.
Yeah,
What a
I
piece
know.
of shit.
Piece of shit.
I
Well,
gotta
if
get a
you're
beer.
just joining us, we are learning fucking Python tonight. Our homie's gonna get a beer.
Let me. I need to figure out where am I gonna. Is this gonna be just chatting? What is,
I want to put
Yeah, I had to use.
a whole
I'm
bunch of other
streaming to all
shit.
three platforms right now, so I had to use just chatting for Twitch, and I had to just kind of make something up for Facebook. I have to enter a game in all those in order to stream. So
Now, keep in mind, you guys are gonna have to keep up with your own chat boxes. I'm gonna keep your guys' streams up, but I'm not gonna be watching all your comments and stuff.
no, I got all mine. I can't comment on mine. My stream is read only, but it multi streams all three platforms into one chat, which
Oh,
is pretty
gotcha. So I
cool.
can open you here.
So
I can open you.
heck, I'm ready to go. Let's get some coding going.
yo, I'm
I'm
adding
trying to find.
bunch tags, multiplayer, mixed reality seems good.
Oh, he hasn't gone live yet.
Let's get a
Oh, I
beer
don't
for
want
some
that.
learning.
Drawing, cash game, no
Yep.
spoilers. Scale, family friendly.
Family,
Yeah.
No, it
family.
is definitely not family friendly.
Whoa,
What?
chill the fuck out, man.
Yeah.
See,
What
you
the fuck?
Hey,
you've already blown
you don't
that.
ever fucking say it's family friendly.
Oh, this
You've
is
already blown that one.
ranked. Ranked for sure. Oh, only
Who's
five.
getting blown in here?
Only five
Hey,
tags at a time.
I am streaming to three platforms here, so
All right.
We're still
I don't
initializing
want to
though.
get flagged.
All right. Wait. Talk again, Captain Wonderful, because I might
Yes,
have heard your
testing one,
ad
two, three. I have
completely
everybody
incorrectly.
turned up to max.
Keep talking.
Testing one, two, three. Mic test one, two, three.
All right. Austin, can you talk?
Nah, man, I never learned how to do that
Oh, I don't have to change Austin at all.
on purpose.
Austin is loud.
Yeah, I just yell into the microphone as loud as I possibly can.
That's good.
So what am I doing here? So I'm watching your stream on Discord,
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
doing.
I wonder if there's probably a way that I could have like done two different, like had my screen plus his, like a I could have probably set up like another
Oh, this is cool. You can show all the members. When it says show members, it shows
okay,
everybody. Uh-oh,
Shows members.
Cody's got something going here.
Got paint.
Paint. Are we doing paint?
Well, I'm going to use this for a minute just to. We just need to go over some ideas real quick.
Okay.
All right. Tell me when everybody's ready to is kind of paying attention, but also fucking with their streams and shit.
I'm watching. I'm watching
Yeah,
everything you're doing.
I got you pulled up.
All right.
Okay. You're flying a
drawing
kite.
a penis.
All right. This is a power supply. It's got the fans here. This is sitting inside a giant computer case, right?
Okay.
Power supply. So this is plugged into the wall over
Okay.
here. You got these little wall outlets. It's plugged in here, real happy like. This is receiving electricity. And what it's doing constantly, all the time, is shutting that electricity on and off. And super, super fast intervals that you couldn't even see. Those impulses, those electrical things are going out into the different parts of the motherboard. Right? And we got our CPU up here with our CPU fan on it. We got our RAM slots right here, right? and then our big graphics card might sit right here. And all of our power is plugged into this motherboard. This motherboard's got like circuits on it, right? And these circuits go to different places and are talking to different things. This processor is taking power from this motherboard and is doing all the math. And it's really, when you tell people coding and computers are just math, you're like, but how the purple and all the different shit? Well, I'm going to explain that to you. But I'm not going to go real deep into the weeds. We're just going to go over the basics of it. All right. So as the processor is taking in this information, all these electrical impulses, it's taking these pulses and it's turning them into zeros and ones. And all of the stuff loaded on your hard drive space, your 2 terabytes, your SSDs that are hidden on your motherboard, all of that storage is coming through the data wires. Now they have power wires also because they need electricity. These SSDs, those M2s, get their electricity from the motherboard. But they also have data connections, and the data connections is allowing the ones and the zeros from here to move along the data cables into the board and into the processor. Now, what the processor is going to take these ones and zeros, and it's going to say some of them are for me and some of them are for the RAM. I can't do all of this. You're giving me too much. And so the RAM says it's going to hold most of the ones and zeros. It's going to just hold it there. It's got different places it's going to hold it, but it's just going to hang on to it. And then it's going to, before we go into the RAM actually, when the processor asks for it, it's going to offload this RAM, these ones and zeros, and it's actually going to do the computation of those ones and zeros. So this is just keeping them in order and addressing them, basically like an address to your house. Hey, this is what it is. The ones and zeros is what it is. And then we got some more ones and zeros for where it's located on this memory, on this RAM stick. And the processor's gonna take that and do a whole bunch of shit with it and then spit something out that'll go along the HDMI or DVI or whatever to the screen and output as a different data on the screen. So what you have to think of is you've got like this computer level talking to this other level that's like hardware level. And by hardware, I mean like your RAM and your CPU. But then you also got this electricity shit happening. This is just like fucking electrics. That's all it is. Electrics. And then you've got like this RAM CPU level. And then you've got like the US level.
Wait.
Yep.
Can you start over?
Yeah, I can if you want me to. I really can. Does anybody have any questions?
Can you
I'm
start
not
over?
missing anything.
Can
No, I
you
really
start
can't. I don't
over?
mind.
I
really
don't know.
mind spending the time on it. I really don't. This is really important. You know, you think it's like glossing over now, but later it'll make sense why that happens, and you'll be able to, if you can just get a general concept of how this works, some of the issues you have when you're coding or doing file management on your computer, you'll be able to reason through by going, "Oh, this is probably."
I've just been
Alright, so,
super. I've
quick-
been super distracted. Is the problem?
Quick
Like,
run through is just power
Okay, let's go.
supply to your motherboard, right?
Right.
Then motherboard goes to your processor, right?
Yes. Motherboard supplies power to everything.
Yeah.
It gives the on and off electricity given by this power, just giant power brick converter. It gives that electricity to all the parts. That's the way to think about a motherboard. It gives
Jesus.
electricity to everything. But it gives it in a more sophisticated way than just a wire could, okay?
Okay, then from there, your processor's going to spit some of the ones and zeros to your RAM.
Well, it's going to take first, everything's coming from your hard drive, your storage space. Whether that's an SSD, an HHD, or an HDD, or M2, information, the hard information is stored in here. And then when your processor asks for it, this will send it to some of it to the RAM and some of it to the processor. And then the processor will work on what it's got, and then when it needs more, to complete that task, it'll ask for it from the RAM. Your processor is good at doing a lot of stuff, but it can still get bogged down, especially if you're doing something big like Adobe Photoshop Editor or a Call of Duty game. You got to imagine all that 250 gigs sits on this storage space.
Yeah,
these
I just
are
got to figure out how
only-
to process it.
Right. These are only 16 gigs, right? These little fucking memory slots. For a lot of people, it's 8 and 8, right?
Hey,
So it's
I'm upgrading.
well, I'm just saying. I mean, even if it's 16, that's not
think that's-
250 that
yeah.
you need access to.
Sure.
And so what this chain is doing, this chain right here is creating a good funnel for the information to go from your storage to your processor to be processed and then spit onto your screen, wherever your screen is. And so, but you need to understand that the communication between different parts is happening on 3 different levels. Because the power supply with the motherboard and the processor with the motherboard and the storage space with the RAM, all of that is talking in electricity. Ones and zeros only. On and off. On and off. On and on and on and off and off and off. And the pattern starts to make sense right here. This is called machine level language. Binary is what this actually is. Now, we often talk about binary when we're talking about machine level language, but it's actually an alteration of binary. Easier for us to understand and manipulate. But all of the processes in our computer are actually happening at this level, while the electricity is happening on this level. But it's important to understand that everything we do at this level, this third level, which is Python, C++, and all of that, and then we put stuff on top of all of that, if you want a third color, Windows and Macintosh and everything is all the stuff. So if you were to look at a computer from this perspective, looking in like this, you see the person interfaces typically with this stuff. And then they might get into the file system and some coding and all of that stuff there. But very few people touch this area. This is for researchers, mathematicians, all of that kind of stuff. We don't have to go there. 15 years ago, this was the only way, this stage right here was the only way you could talk to machines. But now this third stage has become so robust, and so many of the man hours have been focused on this level right here, that this level is really, really sophisticated and we don't really need it. Windows does a lot of it for us. So Python takes place on this level right here. C++ can dip into this level, but you try not to because you can really mess your computer up like bad by dipping your toes there.
So Python's talking to who?
Python is only dealing at this first level, us. We are talking to the processor and a little bit to the RAM, and we're storing some stuff, but we're not messing with electricity at all, and we don't have to mess with networks at all to build what we want to build. We can just do some silly Silly little shit. Okay, so there is the basics of how the electricity is getting to us. All the commands were done, and all the math done is built around teaching the memory slots. So if you have two 16 gigs of memory here, memory sticks, they have little shell cells on them. And if you open your computer up, you'll notice these little cells. And in those tiny little cells, they're little carbon, little smaller than the eye can see, is the ability to hold electrons. And so what you can do is if, the first two electrons are turned on and the second two are turned off and then the third one's turned on, you can get an address for where that information is. And then inside of it, we're so sophisticated now that inside that you can look for more information. And so that's what your RAM is doing. And your processor is going and finding an address at one of these little cells inside these memory housings, and it's pulling whatever's inside that address. So sometimes you want to, in programming, you can think of it in files this way. Sometimes you want the contents of the file. That's what you're interested in. But sometimes what you're interested in is the path to the file, right? You're like, already know what's inside this PDF document. I need to know where it's at, right? Have you ever been in that situation? Where you're like, I know what's in this damn document. I need to know where it's saved so I can send it somewhere. So it's two different things. You got an address and then you've got the data inside the address. It's just like files. You've got the file location, the file path. It's located in this file, in this file, in this file, in this file. But you've also got the file contents, the data that's inside the contents. Super useful to know. So, okay, we're going to get into the fun part. So go to your browser, whatever your browser is. Pop that bad boy open. We're all in Windows, so we don't have to do any funny business. And then we're going to go to python.org.
Wait, what? I'm going to my browser, python.org.
Python.org.
Okay.
Welcome to python.org. Okay.
Now we are going to go over to this downloads page, and we're just going to click downloads. Not the drop down or anything, just downloads. It's already read what type of browser you have. We'll talk about that in a way later episode.
So mine says download for Windows Python 3.8.5.
And that's what we want. We want 3.8.5.
Okay.
So go ahead and click download on that.
Okay.
And then
Download.
I'm
Congratulations,
actually going to
you all have
follow.
malware.
Yeah, congratulations. This is worse than porn.
You guys
Will
ruined
one
your
of you,
lives.
Okay.
will one of you
Am I
share
gonna?
one of you share your Discord stream so I can duet here, because I want to step by step us through this here.
Okay.
Step by step.
Okay. I'm gonna install Python now.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Install Python. Somebody share in
Okay.
Discord.
Oh crap. Am I doing it to C or
Hey.
D drive?
Which one? You don't need this going super fast. This doesn't have to be, and it doesn't matter what drive. Go ahead and put it in C.
Okay.
It's small, so.
Okay.
That I'm
Ooh,
putting
we
mine in.
live, baby. We live.
Add Python to environment variables. Pre-compile standard library. Download debugging symbols. Download debug binaries.
What?
Do I do any of that?
I'm just doing the setup process right now.
Okay. Did you download it? Awesome.
I haven't done anything. The only thing, I just click
click on
download
that.
Python, boom, and then this pops up in the
Yep.
bottom. Open file, just step by step,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and then I'll go through it step by step with awesome. Install now. Yep.
Step by step. Oh baby.
Okay, new to Python, start with the tutorial.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay,
Just
don't do that.
because we want to allow it to have access to root. It's not a big deal if it doesn't, but we want it to have access to our root
Fucking
file.
to my root file. To my root.
Okay,
To my root.
Allow path, it'll say.
so setup was successful. Um, do I start with tutorial or not? No.
No.
Damn it! It says I've got AIDS.
Documentation, what's new in this release? So just close that, really, right?
Yep, close that.
All right,
Okay.
what
Yep,
do you
close that. Awesome.
just hit
Yeah,
exit?
go ahead and close it.
Wait, what?
Or yeah, close down there.
Okay,
Wait,
All
what?
right,
so
now you can exit out of that browser now. Yeah, and go ahead and close down. Close down out of that.
Wait.
Exit out.
I wasn't supposed to do anything? New to Python, start with online tutorial or anything like that? Just close it?
So just close it.
No.
Okay.
okay, under Python now, I have idle Python, Python new, Python manuals, and Python module. Python 3.8, which one is the actual game?
3.8.5. Now, what you want to do before you click on it, what you want to do is click. Do you see my in Discord now?
Were you walking me
No,
through?
I've got it saved to my productivity. You want to go down to your Windows, your start icon,
Right?
and then you want to
Scr-
scroll down to Python,
Yep, that's what I'm doing. And
and
which
then it says idle. It's actually IDLE.
is that
You
what
want
we
to click
want?
on that. Yep, that's what we want to click
Okay.
first.
IDLE Python.
I got it.
Alright.
I got the shell
Now,
up, buddy.
before we get started, because some people this really makes a big difference. Up
Okay,
here
yours
at the
is all
top,
purple,
you have
huh?
options. Yeah, you've got options up here at the top.
Okay.
You can configure IDLE, and that'll let you change the font on this first tab, and on the second tab on highlights. If you look at my screen, you choose color for click background, and then you can click color and choose it to whatever color. It does help me see white space. I do it, and I also change the font.
How'd you do it?
It's options.
Yeah.
Options.
Highlights.
Yeah.
Configure IDLE. Yep.
Yep. And
Then
then the first one is fonts, and then highlights,
highlights. Background.
background, and then click choose color.
Oh,
for it.
okay. Cool.
Now here's the thing. The reason I chose purple is because green, red, and blues, and sometimes yellows are often used by any of the notepads or development environments, which is what this is. So you don't want errors and things to wash out. You can customize all that, by the way, in these. You can tell it, hey, listen, I want my background green, but from now on, instead of variables being blue, I want them to be cyan or whatever.
So choose color for code is black, right? And choose code, normal code or text. What chooses the background? Options.
When you go to highlight,
Yep.
and then there's a foreground and background tab.
Oh,
You wanna click
okay.
the background, and then choose color for, and you can
Okay.
pick whatever you want.
And you picked purple.
The font I picked was a fixed system font. It's got that kind of coder type thing. It's just really easy to read for me.
Okay, I picked Arial because that's the normal, isn't it? Okay, new custom theme. Your changes will be saved. So just type something in there and do okay.
Yep.
Okay. Apply. Okay, I'm in.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll really know what I'm doing with this one.
Okay, can I go use restroom?
Nope. No bathroom breaks in
Hands
this.
down. You're gonna have to pee in that chair, boy.
Is that acceptable?
You had to hold it, buddy.
No, I'll be right back.
He's like, nah, fuck that, dude. Fuck all that.
Send him to the office.
All right. So the reason
No, I'm not
I
ready.
know he's, I know he's in the restroom. The reason all the electricity and stuff is important is because what Python or any of the coding languages is going to allow us to do is interact with whatever level of the computer we want, and to also create programs or functions on our computer outside of the ecosystem of the computer. What we are using right now is called a shell. Um, Different programs have different shells. Thumper will know this. There's a Windows shell. There's a bunch of different shells, and what it does, think of a protected little room that you could do administrative tasks in without screwing anything up. That's basically what a shell does. It's different than a virtual environment. A virtual environment is also useful for any of the things where you do want to dig around with electricity, or what we call lower level languages. If we come back to our paint here, I might have already dropped it. Damn it. Where's my paint tool?
Okay.
Um, so we come back to our paint here. We have, these three levels. We have the electricity level, where things are basically just true binary ones and zeros. I mean, it's ones and zeros because things are on and off. They're upstate, downstate. The second level here is what we call the machine level, and people call this machine language. And this is where the CPU is really doing the hard labor. The RAM is doing a lot too, and your file system and your storage is doing a lot, but it's really this bad boy right here is doing a whole bunch of math very quickly, very and simultaneously, just constantly taking series of ones and zeros and making them into things we can use on this level, and then taking the things we input from this level and making it work here. That's the CPU's job. So Python, what's cool about these and these shells is we've got our level up here, but we can actually, using virtual machines and any of the coding languages, but Python's really good, is we can just say, I just want to section off all this right here and pretend that all of this is a completely new machine. And it's got its own RAM and it's got its own operating system. And we're going to borrow electricity because we're still in the same like physical computer case that this thing is in, but we're just going to borrow this. And this is called virtual machines. And so this little tiny machine would have like 4 gigs of RAM, and it would get allotted, like 10% of your processing power.
How do you
And it'll
choose? How
run.
do you choose that?
Well, Windows comes with it's called Hyper-VM. There's another one called VMware, and you just build these little virtual machines, and this gets its own IP address.
Oh, titty
Because the way the internet works is there's a lot of people think of it as just coming from a central location, but you've actually got these giant DNS places all over the country. And what they are is actually just hubs. And what they do is they name everything at these hubs. They give everything a name. And they keep up with the record of those names, and they tell all the other hubs what the name is. And those names are IP addresses, among other things. but the main one is IP addresses. So they're all telling each other, hey, yo, this is the IP addresses. Yo, tracking. Yo, this is the address. Yeah, I got to change it now because my time's up. Okay, well, it's changed. Oh, yeah, it's changed. And so they're all like talking all the time about what the addresses are. So everything that travels from point A house to point C Google to point D house will initiate, let's do a different color. It'll initiate at this house. You'll type in your email. It'll go to your internet service provider, your ISP, and then it'll leave your ISP and go to wherever that data is being housed. They will send it to the DNS. The DNS will send it back to them. They will send it to this house. Well, first to their internet service provider. And then their internet service provider will send it to their house. And so every time you're sending just an email or you're clicking, think about this from a gaming perspective. Every time you shoot a fucking bullet at someone, pew, I want to kill you. That has to go here, 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 sometimes back to here, then back to here, then to a house.
That's
and so
what.
the networking,
Yeah, that's why I miss a lot. I think.
well, that's why latency is such a big deal.
Yeah.
And why you got to think about back in the days we played Halo, what we were saying was is this person housed all the information. So actually what happened was it would go to the internet service provider, then to the DNS, then back to the internet service provider, then back to you, then back to the internet service provider, then back to the DNS, then to someone else's ISP, then to their house. And so if you had host, your bullet got there way before before they saw it coming.
Yeah.
Especially if you lived, across the country. And now people are hosting things on not the DNS, they're hosting things at their house. So they get it from the ISP and then they can send part of that information directly to you without having to send it to the ISP.
Gotcha.
The rest of the packets get sent to the ISP and then sent back to your internet service provider. And then
Gotcha. Just want to let you know Anderson Horn is watching the stream right now. Hello, Anderson.
Oh, hello, Anderson. Okay. So everybody open up your shell.
Okay.
You want to go to the IDLE. You want to go back down to that little doodad down there. Now the cool thing this little guy will do. Are you there, Austin?
Yeah.
The cool thing you can do with this IDLE, we'll go.
Ideally here.
Yep. Hold on, let me change this real quick. Python shell. Okay. So what we can do with this bad boy right here is...
You're just talking about...
I'm talking about what? Does anybody have any questions thus far? Or is not understanding?
We're just supposed to be in the shell right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's ideally, yeah.
Okay, so the cool thing about this, well, I was actually getting ahead of myself. Let me go back to my wall here. Before we get into the IDLE, this is important. Let's all go down to... I always forget this, and I understand why professors and teachers, you take a Udemy course, you take a YouTube course, you take a college course, nobody goes over this shit. All of this culminates in the fact that all of this data sitting on your storage has to go somewhere, right? The addresses are fucking important. Not only the address is important to your RAM and your processor, but the addresses on your storage device are important to you, the user. The part that's pertinent to us as the user is called the file system. This is where your operating system choice comes into play, because if you like whatever you're going to be able to get comfortable with and whatever you're doing for work kind of helps you decide what your file system needs to be. So we're going to come down here to documents. This is how I access my files quickly on Windows 10. You are free to do it whatever way you want. I like this Windows, this browser right here. This little shit is my favorite for navigating my computer. The quick access icons up here, tell me all sorts of things that I've recently used. Anything I pull off the internet is going to be in my downloads. I rarely save anything to desktop. If I do it very temporarily, just so I can quickly get to it and it's out of the way of downloads. Documents is you can kind of use that for whatever you want. You can create files, do whatever files you want. We are going to go to documents. And anywhere on this fucking pane right here, you can right click and go down to new, and a little thing will pop up, and you want to create a new folder. Documents is a great place to keep this. You can put it wherever you like. You can also create a new folder outside of documents on this PC. I really like documents for a lot of different reasons, but this is where we're going to put it for right now.
Okay, what are we
We're
gonna
going to call this, let's call it Poondog Code.
Okay.
Poondog Code.
Okay.
You're going to name that bad boy, and we're just going to hold on to it for a second. We're not going to do anything crazy with it yet. We just need it for a moment. All right, so we're going to come back to the shell here. Now that we've created our folder and documents, we're coming back to the shell. And we're going to talk a little bit about some coding and about the different types of things we'll find. What we're going to, a good way to conceptualize this is, as I said before, names and what's inside the name. You think about that, that's how we do our streets, that's how we do anything that contains something else or could contain something else. We have an item or a name or a descriptor for it, signifying its location, and then also either its function or what it contains. Coding is going to be the exact same. The way we have conceptualized and developed all these languages is the exact same. We are going to build blocks, and then we're going to fill those blocks with things. Each of those blocks has to have an address. It has to be called something that the system knows exactly what that is when we're talking about it. But it can also contain things which are either actions, you can think of them like verbs, they could contain verbs or nouns. They could contain things, information, or they can contain instructions on things to do with information, or a mix of both. So the first thing I'll show you is variables. Variables are kind of what they are in math. They are a placeholder for something else we're talking about. If we're talking about math, we do this x minus 3 equals 15 business a lot. And that's cool. And what we mean by this is usually solve for x. You know, if this equals 3, solve for x. What would x mean for this statement to be true? And we're going to pay attention to those rules here. But we can actually tell computers to do different things based on if things are true or false. We can tell computers to do all sorts of conditional things, and we'll get to that in a moment. First, we're concerned with x, and what that means is a variable. A variable is just a name for something that we haven't decided what's going to go in it. You can have decided previously what's going to go in it, but you know that a variable is subject to change. Constants, and in all coding languages, we call them constants and variables. Constants are things that are not subject to change. Like, for instance, all of the tax calculator stuff in America is going to have the exact same federal tax rate because it's the same for everyone. You would write that in a program as a constant, not as a variable, right? And to that effect, actually, let's talk about just some quick logic real quick. Because before we get into, it's important to know what variables and constants are, and logic and logic being the foundations of kind of math. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Seems really rudimentary to us, but really there's a lot of things going on there. We're saying that 2 is a thing. It's measurable. It's not almost 2. It's 2. Not only that, but we can increase it, and that will output something else. So we can think of like let's I thought about doing this earlier today. Let's all 3 of you send me in Discord a noun. Pick any noun you want and send it to me. And a private message in
how do I
Discord
do
so
that?
nobody else
Yeah,
can
what's that?
So you go to your, I'll pull it over here.
What's a noun?
You go, oh, a noun? A noun is a thing word, not a do word. We don't want to
Okay.
get into functions yet. We're just talking about things, okay? So
So
you're going to come over to your Discord and you're going to find my name. I'm going to find your name, Captain Wonderful. I'm going to message you any noun.
okay. So
So all
Discord,
3 of you message me any noun. I'm not going to I'm not going to show you
Discord.
what,
I'm
what each person.
find your name. I'm gonna message you a noun.
Sure, I'll have
Okay,
the
any
chat.
noun.
Yep. Any noun you want. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, of course. Of course. I should have expected that. I mean, you could have been a little more original. Austin's was a little better, but. All right. Well, this will be great. Did you send yours yet?
Who?
You.
Yeah, I sent it.
I didn't get one from you yet.
Did you get mine?
Yeah, I did. I definitely got Thumper and Shabufa's.
I just did like a generic.
Yeah, no, I just.
Okay, no, that's not.
just
That's
did
a
something
that's a
random.
pronoun. That's a pronoun. Give me a different noun, Dad.
Oh,
Any
me.
noun, like a basic noun, not a pronoun.
Not a pronoun. Okay.
Jesus.
Uh, or a different pronoun, like a famous person or something might be funny. But he just gave me the password I always use.
Oh, okay. So I will just use.
All right, we're just waiting on one more noun here. These are our nouns so far. Might as well just go ahead and type them in here. There's 1. There's 2. Oh, there's perfect. Okay. All right, there's our 3 nouns. Switching it
Okay.
straight, but
Okay. Now,
next time we'll just use a random word generator because you fucks. All right.
and Anderson,
all right.
Anderson, I apologize for the.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I did hot
Only a
dog.
little bit. All right. So imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine we are going to build a a checkout process for a sex store.
What?
Right? So we
Okay.
want to develop the process that the person is behind the counter is going to use when someone comes up to the sex store to buy something. Right?
Okay.
So what our pseudocode would look like. So let's just think about this for a second. So the person comes up, you work at a sex store. A person comes up and they could have several different items. And we'll say the only 3 items we're dealing with right now is a plastic penis, a butt plug, and a chew toy hot dog that we have just at the checkout register for your dog. And so those are the three things. And so when the person comes up, we have to identify whether it's one of those things. And if it is one of those things, we have to increase the price by whatever that thing is and the amount it is. And then we have to add all of the prices together to get our subtotal, increase it by tax, and then deliver a total. And then we have to receive payment, and then we have to deliver a receipt. Right? All right. So the pseudocode would look something we would say start. We always want to start with start. And then two, and this is what start means is like, what are our start conditions? How does this thing get turned on? What is is it a keypad from someone saying start a transaction? What is starting this process? And so we can say, here in our pseudocode, employee start button. And then our second one would be, what would we do after the employee hits the start button? What would be the second thing the employee should do on this little machine or throughout the process, not even on the machine, just throughout the process to complete the next step? What else would we need? Would we try to get more information first? Anyone have any ideas?
Enter the items.
Okay. So we need to receive cart, maybe. We need to receive whatever it is they're getting us. And then we're going to count the penises. We're going to say those are 399 penises. And then we're going to also collect some butt plugs.
Yeah, how many?
Well, that's what we got. That's not relevant to, because what we're doing is we're building an algorithm. We're building something that you could just plug numbers into and it would spit it out for you. Just a sophisticated calculator, essentially. So our butt plugs, we're going to set at $15.99.
That's a damn deal.
And then we got hot dogs, which are the cool price of $6.99.
For those food lovers,
Yeah, they cost more than the penis. How
And
about
then
that?
we're going to receive quantity.
Must
or
be
we're
my
going
penis
to-
they're talking about.
We'll say each. And then we're going to calculate subtotal.
Yeah, this is a fucked up sex store. They're selling hot dogs for dogs. Sex toys at a fucking.
And so
sounds like a 7-Eleven.
calculate subtotal. You would in a pseudocode, you would write something like, we want the item quantity times the item price. And that's good enough for us, right? And then we're going to plus tax, deliver total, receive payment, and then we are going to deliver. Well, you could also put in here reconcile payment, like your payment product. We're going to say your total is, and then we're going to say plus. We're gonna call this a float for a data type. That's the data type we want, and then we're gonna put total inside the data type, and that's gonna convert this to actually. We don't want it a float. We want it a string. I'm sorry. This is a float. Total is a float right now. It's got a decimal. It's a number. But we can't add that to your total is inside of a print statement. It won't let us do that. So we have to convert total to a string. Basically, it'll take that that whatever $57.16. It'll take that and convert it into text so that it can be added to this text. And so we're going to say your total is plus that string, the string of total, and then we're going to say plus. Actually, right before this, because it's actually going to print out everything that's inside of these quotations, we want to put. It kind of looks funny, but it'll look right once we get our output. We want to put a $sign in front of this little quotation right here. And then we're going to do plus string total plus